Happy birthday.
Wait, what?
Happy Wednesday.
That's Frosty's
Talia's
Snowman
back.
joke.
Oh.
Yeah, from the cartoon. Hey, welcome.
It's Wednesday. It's always Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Talia has returned.
Hi.
She is alive.
You know what that means?
Here comes the song.
Hi, Jean and Kay and Julie and Joe and Peggy, Rebecca and Emily. Hi, Stacy and Brandy and Steve and Carrie and Tammy and Jen and Rachel. Hi,
What?
Jennifer and Henry and Martin and Nicole.
What?
Justin, Lisa, Adrian.
What?
Hi, Willa and Jeff and Jean again and Tim, Dan, Brandy, Kelly, Stacy, Kent, and Henry.
Yeah,
And Rachel.
some of y'all got
He
in
pronounces
there,
it Henri.
too late,
Anymore.
and you got relegated to just the one note mumble of names there at the end. Happy Wednesday before Thanksgiving for those in America that celebrate Thanksgiving. Happy Wednesday before Thursday for everyone else.
And if you're in America and you don't, happy tomorrow. You don't have to work, hopefully, and you
Exactly.
just get to eat a lot and then take a nap.
Yes.
Yeah, happy birthday, Tim. There's your shout
Yay.
out.
What's that?
Yay.
But okay, so we are here before the annual stuffing of the faces to discuss the entirety of Susannah Clarke's Piranesi. That was a half-hearted accent
No, I liked it.
attempt.
That's good.
Thank you.
It's upside
No,
So
You're right side up. You're upside down.
the whole book was set in the upside down.
down.
Oh, this is Stranger Things crossover. So we just want to launch into it.
I mean, that's usually how
what
we do it.
No
yeah.
recap
I will
system because you read the book.
you say that, but hey, Christy, how do you feel about giving a general overview of the plot regardless for those of us who might not have understood what happened?
Sure.
Which might be a majority.
So, Ketterly, who's also the other.
Yes.
Wait, no. Let me start over.
Doctor.
What's Piranesi's?
Matthew Rose Sorensen.
Matthew Rose Sorensen was going to write a book on the
Lawrence
Prophet
R.
Dude.
Sales.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna nail this. Look at this teamwork. I'll do it.
Hey!
Okay, I just want to know what happened. I don't get it.
He is going to write a book on the Prophet Dude,
Lawrence.
and he is going to talk to Ketterly, and Ketterly figures out that nobody knows that he's there, and he needed a young, healthy person. So he tricked him into going into this place with all the statues and leaves him there.
Yes.
And
He went to sleep, Matthew, and woke up Piranesi.
loses his mind, kind of. And then after that, the other lady who wrote a book about the Prophet Dude
Indeed.
called Matthew University to get progress on the book, and finds out that nobody's heard of him since right after she last talked to him. So she somehow got the police involved, and that's where we have
Rachel.
Raphael. And
Her last
she
name.
tracks him down and gets access to the statue place, and then the flood comes, and Ketterly decides he's going to try to kill Raphael in the flood.
He loses his life.
And Piranesi tries to save both of them, but only saves Raphael, and then she takes
I
him
don't know
home.
what you're even looking at. That's not written down.
No, there's the name Raphael, because I
Okay.
keep forgetting about it.
Sarah's her first
Sarah
name.
Raphael, the police officer, rescues Piranesi from the house. And yeah, Christy's drunk. So anyway, that's pretty much it.
So Piranesi
they
is
extract
Matthew
him.
Rose Sorensen.
Matthew Rose Sorensen.
They extract him from the house, the big house with the statues. He is now back in the real world and never really returns to being Matthew. Was always sort of Piranesi with his Matthew, the dark passenger. And then just is. They visit
And then
every
he
once in a
starts
while.
taking back the guy. That was the guy
Yeah,
that was
Ritter.
locked in
Ritter.
the wall, right?
Yeah.
And pooped and peed himself, and
Yes.
Yeah, that guy, Poop Pea
it
guy.
happened.
And he
Poopy
takes
wall guy.
Raphael back a couple of times.
So while we were about to get into this conversation, I just want to preface this. I finished it last night, and then tried to talk to Christy about it this morning, and we are now going to reenact the conversation that we had this morning
Okay, wait,
about
let me get
good.
ready.
Okay.
Piranesi.
ready.
All right.
What
So-
has there been any coffee involved, or is this like
No,
right when
this
you
is
wake
just-
up?
This is
Adam doesn't
morning.
drink coffee.
This is
All
just
right.
morning.
Yeah.
So Christy, I finished Piranesi and scene.
That actually did happen.
This was an actual
It's
conversation.
a window into our daily life.
Didn't happen without any words because
The end was just. It's just.
Okay.
It was like a non-ending, and my biggest thing is like I couldn't care less. Like I never was invested in these characters enough in the end. So yes, anticlimactic.
there's the word.
So full disclosure, I was very uninterested in reading this book / actually doing anything for a good part of this past month. So I actually listened to the audiobook,
Oh.
which means I didn't process anything because I was just hearing. Granted, the narrator was Chiwetel Ejiofor. I don't know how to
Oh, I
pronounce
love
his name.
him.
Something. Yeah,
No, the narrator was fantastic.
he's
The bad
fantastic,
guy from
and his
Serenity.
voice is lovely. He's a wonderful actor. He's in Doctor Strange as well, and 12 Years a Slave, and a ton of other stuff. Anyways, he's great, and I loved listening to his voice. And I was just listening to his voice and realized that I wasn't actually listening to the words so much as I was listening to the timbre of his voice. And so the book was just kind of confusing noise for me. The one part that I remembered and actually thought was funny was the one part where he's talking about the albatrosses in like the beginning, where he's like, and then the albatrosses just think, hey, it's raining. I'm a bird. And those are all the things that birds think. And I was like, ha. And then I stopped listening again.
Yeah. It's one of those because of his voice.
What happened?
Because of his voice and because of the nature of the story basically being journal entries, it does really hit this like tone where it's totally easy to zone out and just let it wash over you because not a lot really happens.
Well,
in
someone
the whole
in the
thing.
group said that that's what you should do. Is just that, like, don't try to understand it. Just let it wash over you. So I was like, okay, I'll just do that. I'm not going to even try to understand it. And then it just kept washing, and the understanding never came. And then I was like, I don't even know what this book is about.
I actually really liked the book. I liked it a lot. I really enjoyed reading it. I thought that it was beautifully written and I was really into it. The ending was, what I told Adam this morning was that it was an extraordinary story that ended in a very, very ordinary way. And it kind of left me totally ready to move on. Like I started a new book immediately and it was fine.
So we have people in the comments suggesting that it's like dealing with trauma, and that's how people deal with trauma. I said something this morning that you told me to remember, and I did.
Oh, here, yeah.
I said, was it intentional that this book left me feeling empty at the end? Because I did. And I was into the book. I was into it, like, you know, like it was fast paced for me. I kept wanting to see what was going to happen as we peeled away the onion layers, and then the ending just happened, and I just felt this like emptiness.
This is a really good.
For the reader, the book is a journey from the completely different to the familiar, which is the opposite of what Piranesi experienced. Yeah, that's true. And it also seemed like he was better off in the other place.
Yeah.
In the house.
He could take care of himself.
He was also very lonely, though.
He didn't think that he was until he found out he was alone.
But I mean, just the way that he treated the dead and the way that he revered the other, like other life was so important to him. And even his relationship with the birds, like he was cheerful, but I feel like he was also deeply lonely.
Yeah, perhaps maybe on a subconscious level. But yeah, he chose to leave, like Missy says. He chose to leave because he knew he was alone. Now that he realized there was another place people could go.
Yeah.
And he thought that the other was just like in a different place of the house.
Yeah.
You know what it is it I'm not smart enough for this book.
Lucas is
yeah.
too
It
dumb.
is.
I felt the isolation too from this book, and clearly
where he lives.
I know
But I
that.
mean-
I know like the house, but like, what is the house supposed to be?
Oh,
It's just another place,
it's another world.
another dimension.
I don't know if it's.
I think it was more of a history of human life, maybe.
Well, he saw the old man and said, "You were a king where I come from." Not out loud. And then I think he saw something else. Jeff loved it. Let's talk about that.
Huh.
I didn't hate the book.
I really enjoyed it.
It just left me with a feeling of.
And maybe the feeling was just that it was wrapped up and we went completely back to normalcy. I don't know. But the author actually, she wrote this book in fragments between bouts of isolation from chronic illness.
That puts it into perspective a little bit.
It really does.
Bouts of isolation.
Bouts of isolation from chronic illness. And then the fact that we're also reading this at, the end of a pandemic, what we've all gone through in the last 2 years, or a year and a half, it's just really interesting.
Julie's trying to get us to put our money where our mouth is here. What kind of ending would have been better? I think the ending fits the story. A man is driven crazy by a suffering abuse, and in the process becomes more innocent in some ways. He escapes abuse and the trauma, finds himself unable to fully return to his past life, but rather lives a life in between, something new that he is to forge between Matthew Rose Sorensen and Piranesi. As a metaphor for how traumatic events change you, I think it works. I mean, I think psychologically you create this space in your mind that you escape. Again, I don't know anything, but it seems like that's something you might do is compartmentalize. And then from that a new you is born. You'll never.
And I'm not sure that there's a better ending for it. I think.
Yeah.
The ending felt right. It's so interesting how it left me and left Adam, and I think and left a lot of readers.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have read it while I was on painkillers.
Hey, there's still time.
I told you.
I might have.
Imagine if you lived in a place with a bunch of statues and then went to a place where many of the things in the statues became more real. Would you view the real things as more beautiful just because they were monuments in the only world you previously knew?
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, if you flip it on its head and everything is actually moving and changing, and you're like, whoa. That's not normal.
I mean, in Piranesi's perspective, that was the only world that he knew, even though he didn't.
Dude, Jeff's.
Okay, here we go. What I really enjoyed from this book is that it treated the character of Piranesi with respect and didn't wrap it up with a bow. There's not an ending that just fixes things perfectly for people who have been through horrible experiences.
Yeah, I think it would have been a shame if he had gone home and gone back to his normal life, because he's a totally different person now. Again, I feel like the ending that we had makes sense.
Not quite like the ending of The Hype.
Which made no sense.
The ending left me wanting more, but I think you should feel that way. The main character definitely was left feeling that way for the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. And yeah, sure, he went through some really bad experience. He was kidnapped and put in a place where he was left alone and then forgot his former life. I think the thing that, it was hard for me to think about it as a metaphor for someone who had undergone certain things, because in my understanding is that this all actually happened. Like, we're not reading about something that's taking place inside somebody's head. Like, this is real, right? And like, this place exists whether you have experienced trauma or not.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah, I mean it's like another world.
Like, it's like anybody can go. Like, Raphael went there, and as far as we know, she did not experience trauma at the hands of this bizarre cult.
Right, because what it
transgressive
is, once you
science.
know the way, it's super easy, right? But it's just finding it is the hard part. Isn't that kind of how they explained it without?
I don't
It was
think
very
so.
vague as to how.
I got the impression Ketterly needs to do
Oh, we got a big one here.
the ritual every time he goes in, especially with how he was talking about like the place for the candle and like the discoloration and stuff.
How it's
But
right.
he did say that some people just can easily slip in and out.
Yeah, Lawrence could just think it and be there.
Well, okay, this is interesting. Are you supposed to feel that Piranesi is better off being out of the world or not? But do y'all think he's better? Like, where do you think he's better off being?
It's a very expensive question, says Rick. I don't know. Like, just reading things from his perspective, it seems like he was content in this other place, this house world. I can't say whether or not he's better off. It depends on how you describe. I would, like ascribing characteristics to just a human condition. Like, is it better to know people? I guess. Is it better to have socialization? Sure. It doesn't matter if he was better off remaining in the house or returning to the world. The point was that he was given the choice.
Mm-hmm. And Jeff Moore posted in the discussion topics post, he said, I found the officer that found Piranesi to be extremely compassionate about his situation. Maybe because the author is British, I don't think that is how an officer would react to the situation in the US. And I agree. And I felt that way the whole time I was reading about Raphael going to get him. Like, this isn't how a cop would act. Like, he would not have been given a choice. He would have been taken. All the remains would have been taken. Like, I don't know. I found that really, really interesting. And I loved it. I love that she respected him and gave him that choice. But then also, I'm not sure if he was in the right mentality to be able to make that choice either.
I thought the cop thing was a little too easy. It's like, and then we called the cops, and the cops got into this secret world, and I'm here to get you. Where are you, Matthew? I don't know. It was
That's
it was
very
a little,
action-packed.
yeah. It was. I don't know.
Metaphorically, I think it's an interesting take on how we can redefine who we are as individuals. I like that he starts referring to Matthew as a different person, and it does feel that way when you undergone a big shift in your worldview.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. It's still interesting that, like, we're kind of unpacking the finale, as it were, like this character that we are left with in the end. But there's this whole there's this whole book that happens before that. Like, there's this whole like
the story of the cult and everything. Like, is that what you mean? Or
I mean, there's a lot of setup for this. And we're talking about, is he better off? Mike says neither. He is stuck between the two worlds.
Yeah.
There's this whole like, I don't even know what I'm trying to. This book was so different and brain bending, but in other places it was really straightforward. Like, I got used to what this house was, and I was like, oh, I'm just here now. And I was getting a sense that, like, okay, eventually he's going to make his way into the realization that the real world exists. It's just, I guess, And it's not like he even like reacted unexpectedly. Like it wasn't all that unpredictable how he would kind of handle being in the real world. Like I was thinking, well, is he going to reset? And then when I realized he wasn't going to just remember everything, I was like, well, this seems right
Yeah, definitely.
for somebody who's had like a major amnesia event, who lived in this other place. So I was like, well, this makes sense now that he would be feeling this way. Okay. I guess that's it.
Well, okay. On a lighter note, Katie Dahl asked, which of the 7 great and secret knowledges would you like to obtain?
There were 7.
There were 7, and I'm going to read them to you. And
Oh.
thank you to whoever posted the picture of the 7. Number 1, vanquishing death and becoming immortal. Learning by a process of telepathy what other people are thinking. Transforming ourselves into eagles and flying through the air. Transforming ourselves into fish and swimming through the tides. Moving objects using only our thoughts. Snuffing out and reigniting the sun and stars. Dominating lesser intellects and bending them to our will. I know Piranesi would definitely do transforming ourselves into eagles and flying through the air. I think he talked about that. And Katie Dahl would choose to transform into a fish to swim in the tides and explore the underwater portions of the house.
I would want to move things with
Yeah.
my brain.
I want to move things with my brain.
I was going to
also.
say dominating lesser intellects and bending them to their
No,
will,
you were not.
but then I would have nothing to do. I'd be like, yeah, okay, no. This is a good comment.
Yeah, that one's really deep.
So this is oof. Everybody's picking flying.
Really?
I mean, flying does sound
flying,
awesome.
Flying or swimming only if I'm the biggest fish. That's
mind
my
control,
Do
says
you want to
Peggy.
fly if you're the biggest fish?
Yes, I want to fly. I want to be a flying fish and a swimming bird.
I would also say like learning by a process of telepathy what other people are thinking, but then that would also be pretty depressing.
Right? You can't unlearn that.
We
I feel
have,
like that would ruin your life.
Comment
Not
sections on
yours
internet
specifically,
sketch
but, like,
videos for that.
Anyone's life. Like the only reason I still have any faith in humanity is because we can't hear what people are thinking.
Oh, Joe's
that's
going
kinda
for ignite and extinguish sun and stars.
Oh, you're an end of the world kind of guy.
Nice.
I like
Dark.
it. Destroyer of
He's
worlds.
a cult leader in the making.
My final answer is moving objects using our thoughts.
Yeah. That's the sound it's going to make. So I won't be able to do it in
Terry
secret.
says telekinesis for household chores. Adrian says motion sickness means no flying. But here, as somebody with motion sickness, I would say if I'm in control of the flight, I think it's a whole different ballgame.
It's like when you drive the car, you don't get car sick.
Telekinesis. So whenever
face a lot of bugs.
I'm just assuming that this whole like great and secret knowledge was just a culty thing that wasn't real. That's just Lawrence being like.
Well, Lawrence even said that he no longer believed that the great and secret knowledge was even stored in the house.
Yeah, it's just Dr. Ketterly was like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna find it.
Mm-hmm.
And I always knew that.
That's my secret. I'm always dark. I realized I'm not wearing a microphone, so you might not be able to hear me whispering.
No, we can hear you.
Oh, I heard that.
Okay. Oops.
Yeah, that wasn't.
I started to do this and realized I'm not wearing my microphone.
That wasn't just a weird frequency that only Adrian can hear. That's the 8th great and secret knowledge power is to be able to speak in certain frequencies.
What was the first one about death? Vanquishing death and becoming immortal.
Vanquishing the brown
that
noise.
sounds pretty great too.
No.
Vanquishing is an interesting word to use there.
Could I also make all of my loved ones and friends immortal? Otherwise, you're lonely again. Like that's not
I don't think you could make them immortal, but I think you could maybe vanquish their death.
So Justin mentioned this earlier, that Lawrence mentioned that there were other doors besides the one that led to this house. Yeah, the possibility of other worlds. We'll get the Piranesi universe.
Yeah.
Piranesi cinematic universe.
I'm good. Good.
You dummy, there's no great secret knowledge. Now, please use your imagination to go back to the house with a million statues and an ocean in the basement. Yeah. That whole cult thing was bizarre. Like this, like, usually you talk about like the cult of science or what, these cults that are based on some sort of bizarre, ridiculous science. And it's just like batshit, like there's aliens in the comet, like that kind of thing. This is real in this book. Is it a cult if it's real?
I mean, if you come across this crazy dude on the internet that says he's going to transport you to other worlds and you just need to pay him whatever, I mean, I'm making this up, but it's like, only 3 easy payments of $20,000 come to this creepy town and wherever the heck we are.
I don't think a
No,
cult.
Adrian, there was lots of people. There's several people. They all died.
I'm gonna Google the exact definition of a cult.
It was the lady that made the movies. It was the Italian-sounding fellow. The biscuit box
Well,
man.
and they broke into the museum.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
There was a whole thing.
they did stuff.
Cults. A system of religious veneration and devotion directed toward a particular figure or object. A relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. A misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. So,
Culty.
does that mean Keanu Reeves has a cult?
They all died. Actually, that sounds
That does sound like a cult. And as Peggy said, Piranesi / Matthew wasn't actually part of the cult.
Yeah, he got tricked. Yeah.
He got tricked. But also, here's the thing. Like, I know that if you come back and you like start telling people about this place, it makes you sound crazy because you're saying, hey, there's a house with statues and there's an ocean on the bottom floor and clouds on the top.
Yeah,
but like
just reading the description of the book sounds crazy.
The Raphael police officer went to this place to bring Matthew back. You would think that eventually this is taking place in what, 2018? You'd think that it'd be really easy for word to get out and YouTube, hey guys, it's me. I'm about to go into this crazy ass house. Check this out. Blink, we're there. Look at this. I'm here. He was right. YouTube.
Yeah. Well, because they had pictures too, right?
Well, the lady made a film in the 70s that was basically just the movies from The Ring.
But it seems like it was just Piranesi and Cutterly that were there once Piranesi went in.
Yeah, nobody else came. Well, the Prophet came in once. But now that, the police officer and Piranesi are now visiting every once in a while, and he's taking the Ritter fellow back whenever they want. So this has now become a tourist destination.
Yeah, it's a destination. He's gonna be selling armbands before he knows it.
Yeah, Disney presents this weird ass house. We got. So y'all are doing good with these long, thoughtful comments that make me feel like y'all should be doing this discussion. What I also find worthy of discussion is that some people went to the house and could not survive. They could get it together, but Matthew couldn't get it together, but Matthew did. Somehow he was able to accept the situation, come through the other side. I feel like this is also saying something about how we can or can't deal with the difficult moments in our lives. Yeah, Piranesi was quite resilient.
Is Piranesi the only one who went against his will?
Logan Paul. Jesus, man. It sounds like he was. Although you asked the question this morning that who was the little girl?
Who was the folded up child?
Yeah, that's I wanted resolution on these bodies, and we didn't quite get it.
Yeah. I want to see what you guys think about the folded up child, because I found what I think is the right answer on the internet.
So are you giving people time to chime in? Okay.
Yes, we'll wait.
I was Googling if seaweed is flammable.
Got dried out first.
Seaweed is flammable. But yeah, like this, it's now a tourist destination.
Well, and Peggy says James Ritter went in against his will as well, that Lawrence trapped him in there. But did
He wanted
he?
to go back.
Well, but also Matthew Rose Sorensen did too. He goes back. So I think James Ritter would have if he had been able to. I don't know. I don't know if going in willingly versus unwillingly maybe helps you survive it a little differently.
Piranesi did go willingly. He was just stuck there unwillingly.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. He did.
Like he did the ritual and all that, but he was like, whatever. This is dumb. Okay, crazy man. And then whoops, I made it.
What?
Oh. No, I'm just acting it out.
Okay. So the folded up child, the prophet, when he came in and was talking to Piranesi, mentioned a capuchin. I don't know how to pronounce that. Monkey. Capuchin monkey in the early 80s who could find the way anytime.
But didn't he mention the monkey?
There was a monkey.
That was a separate thing, right? There was a dead monkey, right?
There was a dead
there
monkey.
Was a dead monkey. So who's the child?
I think it's also a monkey.
It's more than one monkey.
A monkey child?
I don't know. You guys just ruined it. I need to go comment on those people's thing because clearly they didn't think this through like me.
Oh, here we go. I think the reason Piranesi survived is because he respected and loved the house and therefore rewarded with the things that he needed. But here's my question. He respected and loved the house.
After a while.
I think it's like when you lose your memory, what does that, like, I guess it affects different people in different ways. We don't have enough evidence to show like how other people handled that isolation and like that loss of memory, because Piranesi lost his memory and viewed the house as like some deity that was like all knowing and ever loving and all that stuff. I'm guessing that's not like the standard. Like the house doesn't turn you into that. That's just like what sort of base Matthew Sand's memories assumed was happening to him. It's unclear how this amnesia affects people. I guess you just forget who you are and where you came from, and now you're here in this place, and you're like, what do I do? And Piranesi was resilient in that way and resourceful, but other people were like, I don't know who I am or where I am, freaking out.
Yeah, and James Ritter was never able to feed himself or take care of himself. So y'all are still talking about the monkey and the kid. Someone pointed out that monkey bones are very clearly not human bones. So that is good to know. But some other people on the internet were talking about how, the prophet mentioned that for him to come to the house, he had to go into like a mental state of a child. And that was how he was able to slip in. And so it could make sense that a random kid just happened to slip in and get lost.
No, I could see that.
Man.
I mean, because we don't know about so many of the bodies anyway, so it's totally perfectly good explanation.
Yeah, that's true. So I wonder more kids didn't get.
Yeah.
If they all have childlike minds.
I do think it was interesting that they didn't wrap up who all of the remains were for. And we did get some of that, but like there were, 13 others?
I got the sense that the house is more of an abstract, like it's an inherent aspect of the universe rather than something with a conscious will of its own.
I agree. I don't think the house provides. I think Piranesi provided for himself.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the end? Oh, we already talked about that. But like the last like little paragraph. Well, not paragraph, the last little chapter or entry. There we go. He's like walking and he sees the man that was a king. That was one of our dogs. I'm sorry if y'all heard that. Breathing really hard. He's struggling. They're old. So he sees the man who was a king. Let's see.
The old man.
The old man. He sees a normal man who is depicted as a king in the statues in the house. In another world, you are a king, noble and good. What does it mean that he...
Light's dead. Light just
Why
died.
did that happen? Huh. But what does it mean that he saw the human of one of the statues in the house, and that he wasn't a king? He was just a regular person.
I don't know. It feels like the
Matrix.
it's
The
like
glitch
a
in the Matrix.
Wizard of Oz thing. It's like, you know, like the Scarecrow was just a dude in real life, but then he was a Scarecrow in Oz.
And that he also saw the kids who were depicted in one of the statues. But a lot of people, how'd you feel about the last line? The beauty of the house is immeasurable, its kindness infinite.
I think he likes the house a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I could go get away, I'm not trying to get away from you. I'm just saying, like, if I could have like my little mental space thing, and like
You'd
you could
rather
come
go
too.
live in an infinite house full of ocean?
You like go for a bit, and you just like chill out and be like, okay, I feel better.
You're gonna be really cold because I think I don't
hate
think
the cold.
seaweed burns.
I had to pour a glass of rum because my hands have been like
I don't think
icicles
seaweed
all day long.
burns. It's awful.
Mike says, man, I think Lawrence used his cult leader personality to lure vulnerable people into doing his bidding, and some of those corpses had some really horrible ending.
Probably.
Yes, Lawrence was, I think we can all agree, an asshole.
I was thinking evil a little bit.
Yeah, he was a terrible, terrible person. Driven by this love for this
Evil.
this place.
Yeah.
It made him do crazy things. Sociopath, that's a good word.
I do love seaweed, Peggy. It tastes great. It's basically just salt. It's just crunchy salt.
We always have seaweed in our house.
But you can't use it for fuel. It would just turn to ash.
This is Liza, and she is hungry.
We were talking about
Really?
the statues as being like weird sort of Polaroids of things that happen in the world. That's all I got on that.
Whoa.
I don't know. Like this, there's a lot of like pieces.
Let's watch what happens behind my back.
Okay,
For a minute.
Here we go.
Someone posted a comment about how Matthew Piranesi said he told Raphael that he didn't want to go to the other world because it's better. Like the statues are better than real people. And like, is it kind of like social media, like Instagram and Facebook, where like you see snapshots? It's a very curated what you see versus like real life. And maybe that's kind of what he was talking about.
That makes it so much more depressing.
Statues are the Instagram selfies of the real world.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ow. Sorry. Your concrete legs with little claws. Get up. Ow!
Ooh.
Spot.
Statue of two cats on the back of a couch.
I would like that statue.
Instagram.
Nicole agrees that statues are better than most people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what would our literally wasted statue look like? It would look like confused faces. Before confused on a web stream.
Yes.
I wonder if Matthew began to view the real world as a house unto itself, and his reverence for the land and its constituents bled over into how he viewed everything in the world.
So he joined the parks department.
Yeah.
So if y'all if y'all were in Piranesi's shoes, would you leave the house in the end or stay?
I mean, he's been conditioned, and I mean, for years, so it's really hard to say. Like, I think I'd probably be right where he is, and I'd probably be drawn to both worlds in the end. I don't know.
He
It's tough.
claims to be a scientist. You know, he says he has the mind of a scientist now. He's like, you know, especially as he starts out in the book, like he's a scientist, and he's here to do experiments and to like catalog and journal and like, you know, because these are the tasks that the other gave him. You know, you think that maybe he had this. If I had that mentality, like the curiosity would drive me to leave. For him, it seemed like mostly a thing about like loneliness. You learn that like you're alone in this world, and the Matt says ultimately I have to leave the house because I need people, but I visit the house pretty regularly. Yeah, if there was a place that you could go to get, like, I think that's what Raphael was like. I like the quiet. I like the fact that it's there's solitude here, despite the fact that there's tons and tons of statues.
Do you have to keep a journal if you stay in the house? Because I don't like journaling.
I don't
No,
think
that's
that's
just how
requirement.
he was just wired that way in general. Like, he wrote down all of his stuff.
Yeah.
He was a very prolific journaler.
I mean, he was writing a book. He was doing
Yeah.
research. But sorry, go ahead,
No,
Lucas.
you go.
No,
I do wonder if his journaling habits is what helped him stay sane.
that's possible.
Yeah. Couldn't connect to live journal anymore.
Yeah.
Get it? Live journal was a thing. I didn't have one.
I did.
I did.
The house is a world that was created as the old magic and power of the universe gradually left it. So the house is an extension of the real world. I think that he is seeing the beauty of the real world, recognizing that it's essentially a part of the house.
Oh, I think she's talking about the last line. I love that.
Yeah, that's nice. I would have never have gotten there. Knowing that my real life was taken from me will ultimately make me leave the house so I can understand what I had lost. Sadly, that knowledge may not make me as happy as I was in my false life.
Yeah. Mike, 2 mics.
I wouldn't turn down having my own fortress of solitude. Who wouldn't? Or who would? I don't think the statues are necessarily the Instagram version. Maybe some of them, but they were seeping in of knowledge or events from the real world. He prefers his statues because of what they teach him.
Put a bunch of statues in our yard.
We too.
Go ahead, Adam.
We're talking about the statues, which is basically like are there statues everywhere? Like even on the top and the bottom floors? Or is the bottom floor just ocean and the top floor is just clouds?
I'm pretty sure it's all statues are everywhere because there was only one room that wasn't like the other, and it was the room where the statues were like a group. So I really feel like statues are everywhere, but I might be wrong.
I want statues to be everywhere.
Yeah. Joe's a food motivated. Yeah, if you could call Amazon Prime and be like, okay, yeah, just type in your address and you can be like 54th Western Hall in this strange New World zip code ? That'd be different. The arrival of 16 almost felt like someone making contact with an uncontacted Amazonian tribe and the corruption of its people worldviews thereafter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found that interesting in his coming to grips with what was actually happening and his desire to read the notes, but also erase them and follow the directions. That was cool, but I don't know. I think ultimately for me, I needed something different. It was well written.
It's very well written.
But
the house is kind of like the extreme version of the people that think they want to live in utter peace and solitude. It's not really all that wonderful when taken to that level. I think feeling like the person you were in the past who lost something as a different person is a way we cope with how weird it is that our brains can learn to live without the things we used to consider essential to us.
Hmm.
Y'all are, yeah.
Yeah, y'all are so deep and smart tonight.
I like Bobby's.
I'm like, tomorrow's turkey.
I love
We're
books
not
like
eating
these because
turkey.
discussions they
Yeah.
provoke. I really enjoy books that seem like a mystery until you start talking them out. Yeah, I was constantly thinking for sure. Yeah, it was a good experience. I think the ending is what kind of left us without wind in our sails, but intentionally probably.
Yeah.
The house does cause madness, so you probably shouldn't stay. Define madness. Attempting the same thing and expecting
over
different
again.
results.
Yep.
That's it.
Or is it just the more you venture through the house?
It's like a duration thing, right? Like the longer you stay there, the more you forget.
Because
That's the impression I got.
Yeah. Okay. I buy that.
But why? Why?
Because
Why does
nothing
it
else
do that?
really matters. Only the house.
Oh, here we go. Deepness. The house is memories made tangible. Really, what are our memories but statues in a seemingly infinite series of halls awash in tides?
Oh, well.
Y'all are.
That's not what my memories are. My memories are blurry. And
That's the tides.
Yeah. My memories all have to do with Ghostbusters.
That might actually be true.
just picturing Adam's brain halls and just a gigantic marble statue of Slimer.
It looks like the New York City sewers with slime. It's just
Of the
It's
pink
just a
slime?
yeah,
river
it's
of
just
slime.
a never-ending river of slime.
There's your bingo card thing.
You don't know what's on there.
I don't remember what's on there, honestly. I'm
You haven't
sorry.
even mentioned Cyclops tonight.
Cyclops. There you go.
Christy!
There was no
No,
context for
that one's too lame. You can't. That
That's
was
Cyclops.
too overt.
You don't know what the rules are.
That's true. I don't.
The house causes amnesia, but why? Yeah, there were
Because if
certain.
you're alone too long, you forget everything.
Is that true?
I don't know. I don't know anything. Okay. I'm just sitting here and I'm reading all of the
Wow,
Callie
comments.
has been in the house for too long.
I'm just reading all of the comments, and it's nice. I'm reading everything that y'all are saying.
Forget about
It's
the powers.
honestly kind of nice just sitting here quietly because this is the most I get to read everybody's comment. I haven't missed any.
What would your mind castle look like?
A Chuck E. Cheese.
I think mine would be like kind of like an Asian, like Japanese garden kind of castle, like, you know, with the big. I don't know what architecturally. What can I not have that in my own made-up fantasy world?
That's mind castle appropriation.
Is it racist that I want something that's more Asian than?
You know.
I want a big ginkgo tree and like I don't know what they're called, and like the
Mine would be a
temples,
castle with statues of Cyclops and Peter Venkman hugging.
Like how the white dude is like, I want the Asian stuff. And as soon as the Asian people are like, hold on, he's like, can I not have it? Can the white people not have what they want?
What does yours look like?
We'll watch it. We'll just sit here and watch y'all work this out for a minute.
This is what they really come to see.
It's fine.
Yeah, Lucas wishing
You
he
can't
could go
come to
his
my
memory
house.
warehouse. Ooh, Memory Warehouse. That was a reference to a terrible movie called Dreamcatcher.
Oh.
That movie was terrible.
Sounds terrible.
It's a Stephen King book turned into a movie that was terrible.
Don't spoil it. Some people might want to.
I didn't even stay to watch the end. I don't even know how it ends because I left the theater.
Guarantee you I will never watch that.
It's the only movie I've ever walked out of. Oh, here we go. Getting back into being deep. I thought the statues represented the old myth / magic of the human world that no longer exists. As the power leached out of our world and bled into the universe, the house was created, and the statues are tangible. You know, I seem to remember that being said somewhere.
I don't know if that was said, but
I seem to remember that. It's ringing a bell.
They specifically talked about the great knowledge was like that it was in the world. But like I love that interpretation. I think that makes a ton of sense.
We're not talking about Duddits from Dreamcatcher. That movie's horrible. I only went to see the Animatrix. That's the only reason I went. And even that was sort of underwhelming. So, anywho.
Okay, here I got one.
Chrissy's got one.
In the year the albatross came to the southwestern halls, was used 64 times in the book.
Wow. That's padding.
I when we got to the first half, like the stopping place for the last live discussion, I could not wait to finish the book so that I could search how many times.
That's it. Yes. That's it.
I said no spoilers.
That's not a spoiler.
How is that not a spoiler?
It was in the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Okay.
So 64
times.
Is 64 like a important number? Like
I
besides
don't
Nintendo?
think so.
But that is a lot. I was expecting the year to change. I was expecting to find out how he decided what to call the year.
Why do you think she chose albatrosses?
Because she was watching the Rescuers Down Under. And
But isn't albatross like
there's
a
an
metaphor?
albatross. Those are underused.
Isn't that like a metaphor for something? Don't exactly know, but somebody say, "Oh, that's your albatross."
It's like a
what are they
giant
saying?
seabird.
They're giant. They're giant seabirds.
The repetition helps the reader understand how Matthew is coping with his situation.
That makes sense.
The most legendary of all birds.
It's like a seagull got.
Yeah, see there.
They
Yeah.
Gamma
represent
rays.
innocence and beauty of God's creation.
I kept waiting for the albatross to be a harbinger of doom because the connotation of the word albatross, but it actually pretended important and positive things happening. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like albatross has always been like this, like, so yeah, something weighing you down or something dragging you down. Like that's your albatross.
Sailors thought they were the souls of lost sailors.
A guilt or a burden. So there's definitely some symbolism here to using the albatross. I'm just, as Lucas said earlier, not smart enough.
Did you know that some of them have a wingspan of 12 feet?
Missy says 11.
Well, the internet said 12.
That is 2 Lucases.
I said up to.
Stacked.
Up to.
That's crazy.
That's a big ass bird.
Big ass bird.
2.5
I wonder how big its poop is. Can someone find that out for me, please?
Probably as big as a squid alien. Oh, here we go. Full circling to Dreamcatcher. That movie was terrible. I didn't read the book.
I won't lie. I thought about the Rescuers as well.
And we had just watched it within the past couple weeks too, so it was like definitely.
Oh, here it is.
There.
The real symbolism here. The double eagle in golf is an albatross. Well, how do you even get a double eagle on a par 7?
What's an eagle?
I don't know what that is.
Also, earlier when you said, what's the definition of madness, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, my brain was like, golf. So it's golf madness.
But
It's not
are you really? Golf is madness. Double eagle is a 2 on a par 5. Aha. So not a hole in one, but an albatross. Walt spoiled.
Adrian.
Now we're on golf.
Yeah, we have.
That being, I
veered
do
off.
love driving a golf cart.
But that does bring us to 5 minutes towards the hour, and I'm impressed that we made it this far because, again, our conversations about this book earlier, which was just a series of shrugs, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, usually we talk a little bit more.
Thanks to y'all, getting into the theme of tomorrow. Thanks to y'all and your super deep, insightful thoughts about this book. We had something to talk about. Talking golf at a book club. Piranesi.
You know what wouldn't be madness is putt-putt.
Yeah, putt-putt's fun.
because it's always different.
That's right.
Yeah, they have things that eat the balls.
Ball gobblers.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. Moving on. So,
there's
there we
Mr.
go.
Belvedere.
Mr.
Okay.
Belvedere. Check that one off.
Oh, it was a burst of blood vessel in my eye holding that laughing.
So here we
Hurt a
Here we
little
go. So in conclusion, I thought it was pretty good.
I enjoyed it.
I returned it immediately.
I still don't know what happened.
And there you have it. Piranesi, a lot of food for thought. Food that I didn't eat enough of, probably.
It was a Swanson Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm looking forward to next month, which will hopefully be a full meal. What is
Next month
coming up? I feel like that segue. That was really good.
So next month is Resident Alien Volume 1. Welcome to Earth. We have not posted an announcement video about it yet, but we will do it soon. That will be
Probably.
December's graphic novel, doing something a little bit different. That says glowing recommendation, but I really did. I like the book. I liked Piranesi. I enjoyed reading it. It was a good read. It was fast. It was exciting. It was entertaining.
Read it.
Not so much.
I just
But,
smelled it.
But then the ending, it threw me for a loop. But I enjoyed it. It was very fun to live in that world. Anyway, so Resident Alien. When is our? We're only having one discussion in December. When is that taking place?
December 15th.
December 15th.
Wednesday, December 15th. One discussion because it's a graphic novel.
But it's not all we're doing.
No, we also have something.
It's not?
But wait, there's
Tell us
more?
more, Christy.
Wednesday, December 22nd, which is the next Wednesday, we're having our holiday party.
December Tuesday.
Toosty Toost.
Yes.
The Literally Wasted holiday party will be happening. If you were there last year, it was a real rager. Things got out of control.
Can we dub that one Toost Lit, Toost Wasted?
Sure. Toost. So stay tuned for an announcement about that in the Literally Wasted Lounge. Is probably where we'll post it. We'll probably post it on the page too, but we'll probably have an announcement about that, and maybe we'll do something like what we did last year and bring some of y'all onto the stream with us.
We
so
should.
We can see your faces and hear your voices.
That will be fun.
And then just be very merry and all that for our Literally Wasted holiday party. The Secret Santa is in full swing now. Thanks to everybody who signed up. We had a huge turnout for that. So that's awesome. 'Tis the season.
And someone even got their gift already.
Yeah.
At least one person has gotten their gift, which I'm so impressed about.
I got mine yesterday, but
What?
I haven't opened it. It feels innerappropriate.
Before Thanksgiving.
It's
Yeah, not even
November.
December yet. But if you get yours and you feel like opening it early, let us know what y'all are getting, what y'all are passing around. We'd love to see that in the lounge.
That was like my favorite last year. Is everyone posted what they got, and it was exciting because it was like we all got a bunch of presents because we all got to share what we were getting. It was exciting.
You should do I mean, if you do this, like put up your hashtags too, like on your social, like if you do Instagram or whatever, and do like a Literally Wasted hashtag, that always helps people find us. Also,
yeah, but yeah. So those of you who you have plenty of time to do your gift exchange for the Secret Santa.
But you are too late to sign up.
Yes, it is too late to sign up.
That was a closed.
But I mean, if you just want to mail random people like books, go for it.
Yeah,
go through the phone.
Pick somebody out in the comments and be like, "I choose you. What's your address?"
That's not
maybe
that's not weird.
It's not creepy. Also, side note about Piranesi, Matthew Sorensen not having the smartest moment when he is meeting with the other, and the other's like, "Let me get this straight. Nobody knows you're here. Let me just clarify this with you one more time. You told nobody about you being here. Let's do the ritual."
Yeah, that should have been a red flag.
Should have been a red flag there, Matthew. Anyway, so Resident Alien discussion on the 15th, Literally Wasted holiday party on the 22nd, and then it is time for January. So that book poll will be going up at some point.
Crazy.
Yes.
in the future.
Correct.
But for
Before
now,
January.
And I will say another place that you can find.
Oh,
We have our new website up.
yeah.
Hey.
So do us a favor. Go to literarily-wasted.club. This is
Club. Dot club. 'cause
club.
It's a book club.
It is a book club.
Dot club. Put it
a
dot com.
whole new
We don't have
user experience there, so you can go into learn about the club or send that to a friend. You can sign up at the very bottom of every page. Go ahead and sign up for our email list because we're building out a new one. So even if you bought merch or signed up before, go ahead and sign up again because this is all strictly literally wasted stuff. Our old website is gone.
And if you're like, "Ugh, I don't want spam email," don't worry. We won't send you anything. We will forget completely, and
No.
then we'll remember to send you one email when something really cool happens, maybe 5 months
We
from
get
now.
3 emails for free with our plan.
Yeah, that's it. You will get 3
You will
emails.
get 3
You will get
emails.
3 emails across the next 12 months.
Yes.
And that's it.
But it is, it's the site's laid out a lot better, so you can go back into the old seasons and look at what we read. Just seeing all the covers and everything. We're going to be building out the pages for the individual books. They're all up, so you can go back and look at all the archives. So if you want to go into the 2019 season and pick a book and then go to that, I think right now some of those links may go to Amazon, so I'm working on that. But yes, it is a little bit of work in progress. If you see anything glaring, shoot us an email at literarylywasted@gmail.com. But we've got some testimonials from users and club members that we're getting some more photos. We're kind of fleshing that area out. We've got some other areas that are kind of in development, and that will be hopefully revealing at some point. And then and then our shop, y'all, we still have a limited amount of merch because we ordered a little bit of extra of everything because we didn't want to run out. So if you missed out, we don't have everything. So we've got koozies, we've got take a shot books, we've got a very, very limited number, and they're the exact stock on the site. So you can't go and order a bunch, but a limited number of the 2-year anniversary shirts and a very limited number of the Take a Shot shirts. So
Are there totes left?
there are totes, totes and koozies and pins and
What about the tumblers?
no more tumblers. No more
okay.
tumblers. So yes, so if you
Sorry.
see anything on there, we are still getting
Peggy.
samples. Yes, the beauty of the book. Oh,
No, sorry, Peggy was.
Oh yes,
yeah.
that's what I was exactly about to mention. We've been getting samples. We may go with a different vendor this time just for time and location. It may be a little easier for us to get everyone their stuff, but we're looking at after the holidays just because things are too crazy right now. So be on the lookout. But if anyone wants to order anything, all that stuff is in stock. It will ship like this week or in time for the holidays. So
Ship this week. It's Wednesday and tomorrow.
you know what I meant. I don't know what day it is now. But
yeah, Thanksgiving is tomorrow.
But yeah, please go check out our
Next
website.
week.
Go tell your friends. Again, it is always a work in progress if you've ever built a website or maintained one. But hopefully you'll find everything a lot easier to find, and hopefully, like I said, we'll have other capabilities in the future. That's all I got.
Yes. So, everybody got that? Now,
Yep.
prepare yourselves for those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving and are planning on eating a ton of food. I hope you enjoy it.
Yes.
Oh.
Eat lots of food. For those of you who are working or are in essential roles, thank you for what you do, and hopefully you do get some time with your friends and family at some point.
We are thankful for each and every one of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Y'all are a great book club. Y'all are cool people.
And you're smart too.
Way smarter than us.
So anyway,
Goodness.
hope y'all have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time when we discuss a graphic novel.
Woo woo.
Bye.
Maybe.
Bye.
Bye.